All right, good morning, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started on the weather briefing for the upcoming Memorial Day weekend into early next week. Again, this is Mike Dutter with the National Weather Service in Wakefield. A few of the highlights really quick. First of all, this afternoon, and we'll get into a little bit more about this, there are small chances for some showers and embedded thunderstorms today, especially in the northern neck and into the eastern shore of Maryland. An isolated strong wind gust or some small hail couldn't be ruled out with these storms. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. It will also be somewhat breezy across the entire area today with some gusts to 20, maybe 30 miles per hour. The weekend certainly doesn't look summer-like, below normal temperatures, and mostly drier conditions are expected Friday into Saturday. A little bit more unsettled starting Sunday and especially on Monday into early next week. And with that front, there are breezy conditions, small craft advisories in effect for the coastal waters, both to do winds and seas. And there is a high rip current risk for the northern beaches today. So that should say today. My apologies for Thursday, and a moderate risk for the southern areas. In addition, there are some coastal flood advisories in effect. So a lot of marine issues out there today. And again, there could be some isolated storms as well across the north. And just one other thing to note, the 2025 NOAA hurricane outlook will be released today. And in fact, it should be actually being released at this time. So probably within the next hour or so, you should be able to go to our webpage or NOAA's webpage and be able to take a look at that. So for the week ahead, let's go ahead and look at some of the fronts. Again, here is that frontal system that is coming through today with this little warm front right across the northern tier of the area. That will bring some showers and embedded thunderstorms, again, especially across the northern parts of our forecast area, northern neck into the eastern shore. There are small chances even further south, but the best chances are up north. By Friday, again, some breeze out there with this low still over the upper Midwest, or the Northeast states. However, it should be dry. It should be a dry day, and again, cool with below average temperatures. For Saturday, continued dry, and then Sunday. This is the next system that will be coming in for later in the day, Sunday into Monday, and it looks like some scattered showers are possible, especially in the afternoon on Sunday. Perhaps a little bit more shower activity on Monday. Depends exactly how fast this high moves out. But regardless, this pattern is going to continue early into the week, even Tuesday into Wednesday. So unsettled weather definitely looks more likely for early next week. Now, getting into the severe weather potential for today, I mean, right now, areas mainly along and east of I-95 have just general thunder chances. However, looking at some of the latest guidance, we are seeing some suggestions that this area in red, again, the Maryland Eastern Shore into the Northern Neck, could have some stronger storms developing, at least some gusty winds and maybe some small hail later this afternoon and this evening. It all depends how fast you all clear out up there. And I just wanted to bring this into the screen here. This is the latest satellite. And again, there's a lot of clouds up there right now, so that's keeping the things very stable. However, we are expecting these clouds to break up somewhat, and you can already start to see it in the satellite picture. And some of our forecast guidance, this is a model radar imagery here through this afternoon. This is at 1 o'clock, does show some increasing shower activity as the shower and storm activity as the day goes on. So, oops, I zoomed in a little bit here. So you can see, this is 3 o'clock. You can get maybe just some isolated showers or storms. 4 o'clock, same idea. Once you get into the late afternoon into the evening, that's when maybe a little bit more scattered. Again, it's not going to be everywhere, but some scattered showers and storms. And again, maybe some on the stronger side are possible late into the afternoon, into the evening. So, just keep an eye out for if you're in that area later this afternoon, this evening for some rumbles of thunder and maybe some small hail and gusty winds from these storms. And you can see if I go back a couple hours, you can see our model does hint at a few little sprinkles or showers. At worst, a brief thunderstorm moving through through the southern parts of the area as well. We'll see if that actually happens. There's much more drier air further south you go. So with that, we're not expecting much rainfall at all through the next couple days. Any rain that falls today will be relatively light. As you saw, those storms will be moving relatively, showers and storms will be moving relatively quick. So maybe at worst a quarter of an inch somewhere, but that would be about it for rainfall for the next few days. And you can see once we get through today, with the chances of rain, pretty much dry tomorrow. And then again, even on Saturday, this only goes through Saturday morning, but through the day on Saturday, it will be dry as well. And again, these probabilities of thunder, again, low chances of thunder, but it is certainly possible that you could see a thunderstorm, especially across the north and in northern neck into the eastern shore this afternoon, into this evening. Temperature-wise, you can see very pleasant for this time of year, below normal. Normal temperatures are at least in the upper 70s, if not lower 80s at this point. And you can see temperatures are generally going to stay in the 70s. Today will be the warmest day, and through the weekend, they're mostly going to be in the 70s and probably maybe even some upper 60s close to the coast and up into the eastern shore. Overnight lows, very pleasant as well. Open those windows, if it doesn't get too cold. Temperatures in the 50s and maybe even some 40s Saturday morning and Sunday morning. And again, you start to see these rain chances return Sunday into Monday. Speaking of changing to rip current risk, those strong waves, high waves that are out there today are giving us a moderate to high rip current risk across all of our beaches. That high risk is in effect for the Maryland beaches. Again, very choppy, very rough surf out there today. The southern beaches, central and southern beaches, again, moderate rip current risk, but again, it's pretty choppy out there, and the rough surf zones exist with 4 to 6 foot waves. And for Friday, we're expecting at least a moderate threat of rip currents, especially across the southern beaches. And it's looking like as that high builds in a little bit, the rip current risk may decrease some through the weekend, but it will be gradual. Now, looking ahead for later next week and beyond, again, temperatures are expected to be near normal, favored near normal temperatures with near normal precipitation. This is towards the end of the week. This is a forecast for the end of the week into the weekend next week. It looks like once that system moves through early next week, it will tend to be a little bit less unsettled, so to speak. But again, temperatures will stay near normal. And again, our normal temperatures are in the upper 70s to lower 80s. Marine-wise, again, we talked about the breezy conditions, especially today. Those may extend into tomorrow as well, and we have small craft advisories in effect for most of our waters today. No threat of gale conditions over the next few days or even into next week. And you can see this with our marine threat potential as well. The orange is where we believe small craft advisories or near small craft advisories will exist. So again, today, maybe some tomorrow, again, but diminishing through the weekend somewhat. But it will still be some breeze out there. In our maximum marine wind potential, again, these are the maximum wind gusts expected for today. So perhaps 25 to maybe 30 knots in the lower bay, with 20 to 25 knots elsewhere. And you can see that really these winds are the strongest today. They do decrease somewhat tomorrow, but out of the west. But again, it's still going to be somewhat gusty with wind gusts close to 20 knots, maybe even 20 to 25 knots tomorrow. And then on Saturday, again, it may be a little less windy as well on Sunday or Saturday. And here's a more detailed view of the marine winds. Again, just getting a little bit more in depth. Again, you see that slow weakening trend of winds through the early part of the weekend and into the later part of the weekend. By Sunday, while there may be some rain moving in, Sunday the winds do not look terribly strong. In most places, will be less than 10 or 15 knots of wind. So it might be a decent day for boating if we can avoid those rain showers moving in. And some seas forecast here as well. Again, this is the peak wave. Most of these are going to be today, these highest waves. You can see that, again, those are going to be slowly subsiding as well for the next few days. And one other thing I wanted to mention really quick is that we had the minor coastal flooding in many places, especially along the western side of the Chesapeake Bay yesterday. Sewell's Point actually got to 4.5 feet mean low over low water, which is right at minor flood stage. Other places, I think Louisetta actually got to 3.5 feet, which is moderate flood stage up there briefly. So those tides are gradually going to come down today. The water is just trapped due to those strong winds yesterday. The water is trapped in the bay right now, and so it's having a hard time getting out. There's some indications that it's starting to get out now. You're starting to have a little ebb tide, outward tide in the lower bay. So the idea is that we may have another round of nuisance to minor coastal flooding with the high tide this afternoon, and then by tomorrow it should just be some nuisance flooding at best. And here are the latest hydrographs and coastal flood advisories for the northern parts of the Chesapeake Bay and the Potomac. We can see that Louisetta will most likely reach minor flood stage again later on today, and Bishop's Head will also reach minor flooding as well. And you go into the other portions of the Upper Bay, you see Tappahannock will probably stay close to minor flood stage today, if nothing else, in some nuisance flooding, as well as Crisfield. And this is for the lower James. We're keeping an eye on Sewell's Point. Sewell's Point is still running pretty high, and depending on what happens over the next few hours, we may need to bump this forecast up and have maybe issue at least a coastal flood statement, if not an advisory. So stay tuned. That might be possible as well. So that's all I have. So be happy to take any questions. Again, you can type those into the question box. If not, have a great Memorial Day weekend, and we will talk to you next week.